Hi guys, I thought I'd do a quick tutorial on how I did transfers because a few of you have asked how do I get them look painted on. There's been other people who have asked what's my method. Well, my method is quite simple. I've got a bit of kitchen towel over to my right without destroying the setup I've jerry-rigged here. You'll just have to trust me. So I've cut my transfers out and placed them on. Oh, I can get it, I think. I've placed them on a bit of kitchen towel and I've dabbed some water on them. So I've left them for a couple of minutes. They're now movable. You can soak transfers, but my thing is with that, I've lost so many in the water, so I end up chasing them around. It's not fun. So right, let's get down to showing you what I've done. I'll show you on this chap here. I don't know how well you can see it. Let's get my tweezers out of the way. I don't know how well you can see that, but I've just painted him normally, then applied a coat of AK Interactive Ultra Matte varnish, and then where I want the transfers to go, I've painted them in with some satin varnish by Vallejo. Oh, sorry, I should show you really. Ultra Matte by AK Interactive. And then just some satin varnish by Vallejo. I've given him a couple of coats with both, but I've only coated his arms in with the satin, just because the shiny backing is going to need something to stick to, and then at a later process, you'll see why it'll just disappear once you've put the decal softness on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put a decal on here. It's not the greatest setup in the world, but I should try. Oh, where is he gone? Right, yeah then. So I've managed to get one of his chevrons. Oh, focus please. It's hard to do through a camera, but I shall try. I'll say about there. Okay. Now the best thing with these water slide decals is they will always move when they're wet. So as long as they stay wet, you can put them wherever you want. Like there. I'm quite happy with the placement there. So what I need to do now is, I've ripped off a bit of my kitchen towel, and I'm just going to dab that area just to take the surface area of the water off. Very gently do it, as sometimes the transfer can come off with your kitchen towel, or it will shoot up or shoot down, depends on where your pressure's going. So that's on there now. Pop that down there for a second. We'll pop the other one on wherever I put my little paintbrush. So here's the other chevron for the other arm. These are Warlord Games supplied chevrons and decals from their airborne range. There are others available. I've tried B Company with my US Paras back when we got the Band of Brothers set. I just thought, because they're a bit foily and a bit shiny, if you've ever used them, I wasn't a fan personally, but everybody else gets different results from different things. What you're happy with, so it's what your personal preference is. They were very good decals. There we go. That's gone on where I wanted it. But yeah, they're very good decals. They were very weak and flimsy. Come on, get on the brush. No, it's no good. So I've been trying to hook it onto the brush. Oh. so I can do it one-handed, but it's not worked, so I'm just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. So I've got a pair of tweezers, and because it's nice and wet, you just push that off the paper very gently. And is it on my brush? It's on my brush anyway, typical. So there he is on the old brush. So all I have to do now is find out where I want it and just deposit it where I want it to go. So because it's still wet, if you've not got it in the right place, it's just wet it again and you can move that around. Look, you can put it down, push it up, just, just take your time. And as long as it's damp or wet, in this case, it'll always go where you want it to go. So you can just fiddle around with that, getting in the right place, which I found with these shoulder ones are horrible. That'll do me there. Oh no, he needs to go over a bit. Just a tadly. Now he needs to go down on that side. Just a smidge. I'm going to call that perfect because I'll be here all night. I've put me a little bit of kitchen towel down. So the next part is that you'll want your decals nice and dry. So I'll probably do the other side first with this. So what I'm going to do now is part of the reason why you varnish your miniature. I'm going to use some D-set. Now you get D-set and D-sol. So it does what it says. That one sets your decal in place, as you can read in the read on the front there. What that will do is it sticks it to that varnish, so the backing will start melting into the varnish. So you probably need just one coat of that. And then it's micro-sol. Now micro-sol I use probably the most of, because once you've stuck it down, you'll need to put tiny amounts over your decal, soak it, then leave it for a little bit. Then I'll show you what you do with it there. So what I'll do now is, this process is so much better if you're doing it in batches. Just going to point that out there. And it smells horrendous. So what we'll do is we'll wash over the decals with the D-set. I could have picked decals you can see better. I can actually see it better through my lens than I can through here. So when that dries, I'll move on to the next step. Right, so that's that dried and done. So what I've done is I let it dry on for a little bit. And whilst there was still a bit of moisture on there, I chopped up a bit of cotton wool bud, and I just rolled it across the decal like that, up and down, side to side. Just pushes all the air bubbles out and really gets it to flatten down onto these rough surfaces, because you can see there's folds and creases and stuff like that. So that really helps it give it that more contoured look to the surface. It works really well with Space Marine shoulder pads and just anything horrible and curvy that you don't want your decal to come off of. Sorry, I was looking for my brush. Right, so now we've got the micro-sol. So you don't need a great deal of this. And all you do is do what you did earlier. Brush it over. Make sure there's plenty on the decal, but not too much. So I've done, when I did the varnishing, I don't know if I covered it in the last part of the video, is I varnished the whole arm. Now, because the backing disappears into the varnish, if you just did a big blob of varnish and then stuck your decal on, which is fine, you can do that. You did all the D-sols and stuff like that. and then put your AK Interactive Ultra Matte back over the top of it, you'll just have a really weird looking patch with a decal in it. The decal will look fine, but you'll see that there's different textures underneath from the different varnishes. So I've done the whole arm, so when I come back to varnish it, the whole arm will look the same, and next to the torso you won't notice next to the torso. So right, now this part's important, is once you've put the decal on, is I like to do it in little bursts, let it soak in for a little bit, and then just gently put a little bit of pressure on and just roll the decal like so, because you'll get all sorts of little, as it's contouring to the surface, it might bubble up a bit, and sometimes they go a bit wrinkly if you've left it on too long. So this will just push all the bubbles out, and it kind of stretches it out a little bit, so it doesn't take a long time to dry it off. So I'll repeat this process maybe 2-3 times over each decal, just to get it solvent. It especially shows up on tanks, and I'll show you now what a finished product looks like. Okay, I've just gone and grabbed some miniatures. So if you repeat the process like that, put another layer of your satin varnish over your finished decals, that pretty much turns the decal into the varnish, and it soaks it in there, and that's it, permanently affixed. But what I like to do, because I don't really like shiny miniatures, I then put some more AK Interactive over the top. That might take a couple of passes over the satin, but it will go back down to the matte varnish finish. I did find that gloss varnish works very well for sticking decals, but it takes forever to get it down using AK Interactive. It takes forever to get it back down to that ultra matte finish. So that's why I use satin. But as you can see, the film that's around the decal has disappeared. When you put that last coat of satin varnish on, pretty much just kills off where that used to be, and then you put the ultra matte varnish over the top of it. It looks painted on. You can't tell that that's a decal. So yeah, there you go, chaps. I hope you found that really useful. I'm sorry about the poor quality of the video. It was a bit of a spur of the moment, so if you want me to do a better one, please shout up. But I hope that was useful for you. Please, if you've got any questions, jump onto my Instagram and just send me a message. I'm at FenrisInWolf87. Other than that, I'll see you Sunday for another instalment of the Airborne vlog. Hope you're doing really well. Speak to you soon.